What to do, YouTube? Hey man, normally I like to get in here and do a shout out because I like giving people their props for what they've done for me personally and why I get involved in doing while I've gotten involved in doing these YouTube. However, I'm not going to do that right now because I've seen something. You see things here and there, and you kind of just accept it as the norm, and you go through life with, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and do this to try to affect change, or I'm gonna do this to try to affect change, and that's still my game plan. There's things that I'm going to do, and I have a creative way of how I'm doing this. But this right here, let me be blunt. This pissed me off, and I'm tired of us playing around, tiptoeing around this subject. Moses, David, Jesus, better known as Yeshua, the original Hebrew name. Um, Isaac, Jacob, Yaakov, Yitzhak, original Hebrew names. Abraham, original Hebrew name. All the way down to the beginning of time with Adam and Eve. They were all dark-skinned black people. So how dare these Europeans or these folks that they try to classify as the Middle East, because Israel is not the Middle East, that is Northeast Africa. See, this is the stuff that y'all, along with me, been getting swindled, bamboozled, and played for so long, where they've been calling it the Middle East because they don't want to highlight the truth. If you go look at the tectonic plate in Africa and you look at Jerusalem, Israel, Israel, just like Mexico, Mexico. That's the name of those people's country. Mexico, not Mexico. This is what the Europeans have been doing for too long, and they keep getting away with it because we have these corny sucker uh, folks in church as well as other religions, because there's a bunch of y'all that's real. I want to say something else, but I'm not going to. Y'all are real different in your approach to knowledge and understanding that for a long time we've been gamed and played, and they've been having us looking at a blonde haired, blue eyed guy saying that was Jesus. No, that was Americos. That is the real name of the dude, Americos. Due to history, I've been looking and doing a lot for quite some time. It's just a lot of this I haven't come to the forefront because I'm doing my best to do it in a delicate way, in a strategic way, so that we can all reap the benefits without me bringing it on like I'm mad, or because as you can tell, my voice is getting higher and higher because I'm getting ticked, and I have been, but I've been working on me personally because I know me. So, but when I look at all the stuff that we've been having these discussions. I remember family members of my own having discussions with me about, oh, we know Jesus, he was white. We know he was white because that's what they told you. Or, well, it really doesn't make a difference what color he was. Okay, if it didn't make a difference what color he was, then why did God make him black? Why did Yahshua, why did he make Yahshua Yahweh? That's the original name. And let me help y'all with something. I can pull up this book right here that helps been helping me learn how to read Hebrew, and it will tell you the name God that we use often, the pronunciation God. Do you know whose name that is in the English Bible? Gad. That's how you pronounce his name. His name is pronounced. These folks have been slick for quite some time. That's how you pronounce that guy's name. But they want us to believe it because they've been trying to get us away from the original name for so long. And they want us to believe in their name. This is what they do, because you got to think about it. It's all a plan. Because for centuries, They've been trying to get us, maybe not centuries, but for a long while, they've been trying to get us to look at, oh no, he was Caucasian. He was this. If the creator of all things made him a certain color, there was a reason for it. Because it was the first people on earth. Everyone on earth, let me be clear, not just the first people, everyone that has a pulse. Slow down, Dorian. Everyone that has a pulse that is a human, you come from a African. Period. I don't give a dang if you're white, Chinese, Japanese, um, Filipino, from Mexico, it does not matter. You all have African blood in your DNA because we all come from one human. But for so long, you look at all those pictures of Adam and Eve being Caucasian and the Garden of Eden with the serpent behind them with a red apple. And that probably wasn't even the fruit that was eaten back in Africa. Now that I think about it, I never checked. They probably didn't even have apples in, because you got to think a lot of fruits we have up here, they don't have down there, and vice versa. There's a lot of fruits down there we don't have up here. Now they do have pineapples, because I've been told people that visit in the homeland, but their pineapples are white, for real. So it's just a lot that they try to change and mix up, and then they got the nerve to get mad at the Russians for bringing out the truth. All those votes, the votes they open up with all those paintings and of all the ancestors from way back when, the original people from the Bible, not one of them were light skinned. They were all dark skinned, including King David. And that brings me to this point. I promise you today, I'm getting rid of Prime Video. I'm not going to associate with anything on Prime. Everything that I have that's Prime, I'm discontinuing it. You do what you want to do because I don't want to seem like I'm the guy on here trying to promote, hey, everybody just get rid of Prime. I'm just doing this for me because this is not, well, actually, how to think about it. I might have to do something with these folks at Netflix too because they did this a while back when they had a story about I forget, but they did have some things in there that was just totally unbiblical and it wasn't right. But these folks here, this isn't the first time, but it's bothering me because they just keep on. Maybe it's just more frustrating to me because I've been learning a lot. But they're trying to portray King David and Goliath as a middle, I'm using their term, a Middle Eastern, because what they're doing is they're trying to show this was the original way how they looked at, because think about it, all the people that's in Israel, Yezreel right now, or Jerusalem, they're all that color. They're lighter skin. No, those are the fake Jews, Leah. Let me say it. Those are the fake Jews that are in that land right now that are not the original people. Them are the folks that stole our language, our land. Those folks that are there now, they're not the original people from Jerusalem way back when. So, for instance, if you were to go get one of them folks that's there right now, take their DNA and go get some of the bones that they collected that were, people from 2,000-3,000 years ago, and test their blood to those folks. I can almost guarantee you that the distance is going to probably have them in the 1%. Whereas if they were to take my blood and they were to um, compare it with the DNA, it would be more like 46 to 45% because I'm closer in connection because I'm not 100% Nigerian, but I'm more closely related to the Nigerians than these clowns that they have in Israel right now because they're not the original Jews, period. So that's the reason why they try to put this narrative out there like, oh, well, we're just going off of the data. or what we all see. This is the truth that, no, they're doing that because they're mad because of what's been publicized and what we keep other folks like me, the Hebrew folks, and I'm not going to get into that because some of the ways how they do it is the wrong way, and I don't agree with it. But however, when it comes to DNA and it comes to the truth behind our color and who we are and our land and what's ours and what's not theirs, they're true on that because them folks have been lying for so long about these things that they want to get mad at the Russians for pointing out it because, of course, the Russians have a huge platform, whereas the different Hebrew tribes that are doing it now, I mean Americanized Hebrew tribes here in America, the folks that be on different street corners, and some of them have platforms, but they're not as huge as. But how you say that cat's name? Putin? I don't know how to pronounce his name, but the president, when he opened up the archives of those votes and showed those pictures, or not pictures, but y'all know what I'm getting at. I'm trying to brush up on my goddamn speaking abilities because that's what happens when you drop out of school and want to be running the streets, gang banging, thinking that's cool, cussing and yelling out blood, pyro, and all that instead of learning how to speak clearly English because this is the land that you live in. And knowing how to articulate and knowing how to understand and use the right wording. That's what happens when you're in the streets and always cussing and yip yapping and slick talking. You don't know how to really communicate when there's really time like now. So I fault myself. Whereas all of my siblings, including my sister, may God rest her soul, my brother, attorney in California. My older brother has a massage clinic. I'm not gonna say where, but business people, very intelligent. Our mamas were smart, so we come from smart folks. But I wanted to do the dumb dumb role and think running with the homies and kicking it was smart, and now I'm paying for it because it hurts me when I really need to get my point across. So, but back to the main thing is this is what happens when people are trying to keep showing you the narrative like, no, this is America, this is the truth. They'll keep putting something in front of you. This is the color how David and Goliath looked at like back then when it's not the truth. They're trying to get your mind away from what you saw maybe 4 or 5 months ago, if not longer, of those pictures like, wow, look how dark these guys were. They're trying to get you away from that by trying to put out these new movies and new networks and trying to make it seem as if those are the right people or the original people. No, it's your original lie. And this is what you've been doing since the beginning of our time here on in this country. And it's really sickening and it's sad that these folks have been doing this and they keep on, and this has been their MO. They do it through television or through the media. They're always where they have the biggest platform, they have the most viewers or listeners. That's how they get us, and they've been getting us for far too long. I'm telling y'all, wake up, start paying attention, start getting away from these clowns that keep on trying to keep us in a deeper bondage. Because if you don't know who you are, you're not going to know where you need to be. And there's no reason for us to steadily be trying to make this country great again when we're supposed to be back in our homeland making that country great again. I can literally open up my Bible and show you Genesis chapter 15, verse 10, where it talks about we're going to be in a strange land for 400 years. I'm going to pause right there. Think about it. Egypt wasn't a strange land to them. Their forefathers, other fathers, they traded all throughout different parts of Africa. So Egypt wasn't a strange land to them. It may have took them several days, if not longer, to get there on the camels and the donkeys and all the other things, but nevertheless, that wasn't a strange land to them. However, being on boats at that time consistently and going that far, that was strange. So it wasn't like they were caravanning, going to Hawaii and hanging out for a week and then flying back. It wasn't like that back then. they said that there was certain 200 or more people went with this king way back when to the Americas a long time ago, but they said he go listen to Akala. That dude's incredible. That's where I learned the beginning of my history for the Africans. Those folks went there because they plan on going to live, not come back and talk with the people. Look what I saw. They had planned on starting something new there. So my point I'm getting at is, there's no way when he mentioned a strange land that they were talking about Egypt. Because again, in the movies, they make it seem as if Egypt, they were there for 400 years. Yeah, it's true. They were there in bondage for some time, but they weren't there the way how they try to publicize it to us as if they were slaves or this, that, and the third. No, they were getting oppressed and they were getting victimized by the higher ups, by the Egyptians. But they had free land. They had ways of moving about. It's just that they had started yearly and our and the urban word, they were getting punked pretty much by the higher ups. But reality is, they couldn't have been there no more than 260 something years, if that. There's no mathematical way. If you do the if you check from the time Moses was born to when he passed away, the math just doesn't add up that they could have been there 400 years. But nevertheless, if we just go back to what I just quoted, and you think about it, it said 400 years. So we do the math here. 1619, when they say it all started for us here in the Americas. And then 2019, what happened? The world stopped. And all of my knowledge of the history that I've been beginning to learn more and more about, never have I ever heard of a time, the Great Depression, that wasn't the whole world. That was certain parts of our, of course, Americas and other places, but never the entire world stopped. And what I mean by stop, everybody pretty much was in their house. No one was pretty much going places. Essential workers finally started going somewhere, but for a while there wasn't even nobody going out to get food because they couldn't do nothing. Everything had just paused because of that disease that came out, the COVID thing. My point is, in my opinion, there was a reason for that timing, for that to happen, to get a lot of our attention. Like, it's exactly 400 years. It's time for us to get back going home, because that's what he said. We're going to go back home to great. Wait, let me back up. Before I'm going to how was it? Let me paraphrase. I'm going to judge those that did you wrong up here, and then you're going to go back home with great substance. They went back home with some at the time. Yeah, that's the other part. They didn't go back home. If you think about it, when they left Egypt, where did they go? They went to the wilderness first, and then they went somewhere. But they didn't have no great stuff. They got jewelry. Yeah, there was jewelry that they had got from the Egyptians. But when we're talking about great substance, in my opinion, I'm thinking about a whole lot more than some jewelry. I'm thinking that it's going to come a time when these folks up here are going to get put on world court. Let me be the first, if that be the case, to say it. They're going to get taken to world court where America's getting judged by everyone else from all the other nations, and they're going to get presented with evidence and facts. So you did this for this many years, you did that, and then your siblings or your ancestors profited from these people's loss because they were in bondage, and not only in bondage, they were enslaved for this amount of time, and you made billions, if not trillions, on their backs, and then your families got all these football teams, basketball teams, soccer teams, all these jewelry stores. Slow down. Jewelry. Slow down again. Jewelry. The first word that comes out is Jew. All this stuff was created and invented by us, our people. Why do they have it? That's another reason why I don't plan. I just never been a big jewelry wearer, period. But I don't plan on, unless I get married soon, I don't plan on buying a lick of jewelry until I own a jewelry store. Because there's no reason why I'm gonna go put some money in them people's pocket when they didn't stole all this stuff from us in the first place. So they're stealing names, juries, land, and they just keep getting away with it and then be laughing in their face because they got these huckabuck dum dums that keep falling behind them, sucking up behind them, thinking that, oh, you gotta have you a white friend because let's be clear about this. The smartest people on earth is us. We're the first folks out here and we started all this. Go listen to a Akala, the Oxford Union address, and then you'll understand what I'm talking about. Man, the dude highlights how intelligent our people were, how they were creating, building castles way before the Netherlands and the Europeans were building castles. They were building all kind of two-story buildings. They had things being built without cranes and all that. How were they able to do this with tons and tons of weight that they were? All this stuff that I'm basically saying is we created and started all of this, and we are the most intelligent people around. But they have you thinking first it was, oh, the Caucasians, because they had us down so low and they weren't allowing us to read. But you got to remember, we were already reading Hebrew. We were already reading in our own land. We couldn't read their stuff because they stole this from our homeland. So we couldn't, of course, read something that we never read before. But we were very fluent in understanding Hebrew and other languages in different parts of Africa. So let's get that out of the way. So when you do the math, everything that was created and started came from us, but they keep on trying to veer off from that fact and they say, well, they were the smartest. And then next it was, oh, the Asian man, they're really smart. Then next, oh, those guys in India, they're extremely smart. You see how smart they are? Look, it went from the Caucasian to the Asian. Look up the 1800s of Asians and watch how dark you see they were. Yeah, blow you away when you do the math on how dark everyone was at one time. They went to the Asians, then they went to, well, they called them the Indians, which is the true language, the native states, because they didn't know who they were dealing with when they ran into them up here. Then they start saying that they are the smartest, just getting back to the motherland pretty much of the dominant black folks. That's basically what I'm saying. It's just like they get just consistently just trying to first make it seem as if they're the smartest, and then just technology and, oh, the Asian, oh, now it's the Indian, and now the truth then came out. No, it would have to be the Africans because they're the first people on Earth. That's something that our caller made the joke about how they used to try to make it seem as if when they looked at all these different great structures and things they done in Africa, they just couldn't believe it. They kept on trying to say in different books, oh no, it must have been done by this person. And then the caller said, this is how I'm paraphrasing, they'll basically say it had to be an alien, anything to except saying it was an African, because they didn't want to give us credit for nothing because it debunks all their lies and making it seem like we were dumb, we were living in huts, we didn't have no clothes, all this foolishness that they used to just, man, do your history and check it all out because we've been getting lied to for too long. But the reason why I really wanted to get on here, and I had several things I needed to do the first thing this morning, and my exercise is one of them due to my stroke, trying to get back my right side and working like it was working before the stroke. And I was just so ticked off because I seen 3 different commercials on Prime with that foolishness of making it seem like King David was some light-skinned cat. King David was darker than me. He was a jet black African or a Hebrew. Because some folks don't like always putting that African tag on them because that's a little deeper than my knowledge right now. I'm gonna be straight up with you because I'm used to African being the homeland, but what they try to explain to me is you got to think Hebrews and Africans are different because Africans are people from the bloodline of Ham, and Hebrews are the bloodline of Shem, and then Europeans are the bloodline of Japheth. So, and he was dark before he went over there where they barely had sunlight, and that's why I believe his melanin just didn't continue being blossom and getting dark like it used to. And so before long, him and everybody else started getting lighter and lighter because that's what happens when you're not exposed to a lot of sunlight. Your body, your natural getting the darker burn from the sun, it's just gonna get changed, I guess. I'm not no scientist and know all that stuff. I'm just going off of what I've been learning and what makes sense. And is yeah. So yeah, I encourage y'all to go and check out everything that I'm saying. You don't believe what I'm saying, there's no reason for fussing. We ain't trying, no reason for cussing. There's no reason for arguing. Let's just have a simple discussion. Let's get on here, communicate, talk to me, I'll talk back, and let's just talk about it. There's no reason to go at each other's throat about things. We just need to learn sometimes to sit down and communicate without always thinking that you gotta be violent just to get your point across. Or someone says something you don't like, you have to be violent. That was the kiddish way of me. The last point I make to y'all, and this is the honest truth. This is how sick my brain used to be. As a young kid, one of my siblings used to have a problem with smacking when they're eating their food. And it irritated me. To this day, it still kind of bothers me. When I'm listening to YouTube people, I'll get off their line quick fast when they start chewing while they're talking. And I'm done listening to them. This dude used to smack something crazy. And it just irked my nerves so bad. I'm the youngest. And I'd say that person's name, stop smacking. They'll continue on like they didn't hear me. And they're sitting right next to me at the table as if they can do what they want to do. Because I'm the youngest or whatever. Kept on smacking. I'm taking off quick. That's just how my brain operated. I'm stealing. I'll lose the fight. Let's be clear. I ain't going to lie about that. All of my siblings that was over me can go in a major way. Y'all didn't see me because I was the last of the Mohicans that was out there in the streets. But trust me, the one right above me really goes that knockout power. I'm talking about majority of everything he hit went to sleep. I didn't have it like that. I didn't drop some things in my time. I didn't have it like that dude. The point I'm getting at is, man, look here. I had a backwards way of dealing with things, period. Used to get kicked out of schools, suspended all the time. Used to get a bunch of D's and E's back when they used to give you and F's. Back when they used to give you those. I mean, they got D's and E's, some F's. Used to get my butt whooped by my mama when I got home for a bad report card because I would get kicked out of school, so I wouldn't be in the class, or I'd be in class playing too much, where I would get bad grades, but it wasn't because of my intelligence level, because I'm very sharp. It was because of the way how I handled and the way how I did things, because I didn't deal with it the right way. I always thought fight first and talk later. And it should have been the other way around. Let's talk about it. We don't have to be violent about everything. So that's basically what I'm trying to leave y'all with. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, let's communicate about it. If you don't like it, you don't have to listen. You can just go on to the next page and listen to somebody else. But for those that do like it, like, comment, subscribe. Even if you don't like it, comment about it. You can go away after that, but let your voice be heard, because I'm going to respond back to you. So like, comment, subscribe, share. There might be somebody else that would like to hear this information that agrees and open-minded, that's willing to listen and learn. Not saying that you're not, but I'm just saying, your peoples, pass it on to somebody else. So that's my time, man. I appreciate you all for listening. This is D Chill at the discussion. I mean D Chill the discussion, but I am D Chill, your host. Have a good one. I'm out.